Now, for the next session, I would like to call Dr. V. Chandra Mohan. Uh, First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Chandra Mohan because Dr. Kandar Parikh was supposed to take a session on retrograde intrarenal surgery, but unfortunately, he is not able to attend today's session. So, Chandra Mohan sir will be taking that session. So, there is two sessions taken by sir. One is retrograde intrarenal surgery tips and tricks, and the another session is endoscopic combined intrarenal surgery and supine PCNL. We all know sir. He is one of the stalwart, and what I will say, we get inspired from him. And sir has done MS from AM in urology from AIMS, MCH from TGI, MRCS and DNB, and he has received gold medal for that. And sir is currently associated with Preeti Urology and Kidney Hospital from Hyderabad. Sir, once again I welcome you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you for giving this opportunity, Samarth Life Sciences. First of all, I thank Dr. Madhusudan Agarwal sir for designing this program, and he has always been an encouraging consultant. And in early part of my career, along with Dr. Mahesh Desai sir, Dr. Madhusudan Agarwal sir encouraged me a lot to be active in academics, and I have been to Agra, was a part of his conference, and thoroughly enjoyed doing live workshop also. And so many encouragements he has given during his presidentship. I appreciate, sir. I thank you once again to share the platform with you. Gurnath, thank you for introducing me, and I will share. What I request is I will do supine PCL and ECIRS first, and then I will give to Harshavardhan, so that it will not be a continuous talk and boring. At the end, I will do RIRS tips and tricks. That will be correct, instead of continuously talking for 30 minutes, with permission of Harsha. So I will share my screen and go to my first topic. I will go to the my first topic. I will keep ECIRS. I will open my presentation and then go to the sharing. Sorry for that. So I will share now my ECIRS talk. I will try to limit my 15 minutes of talk. If I am exceeding, I will fasten my slides. Now my time is 5:37. Let us quickly go through it. As Madhusudan sir said, there are various methods of doing a PCNL. He has nicely narrated, and at the end he is shown a conclusion slide that ultrasound and C-arm guided puncture is most acceptable. Similarly, I will try to tell where supine PCL and ECR is useful, why I have been doing this. As you all know, many urologists do prone only. The RIRS brought back supine PCNL. What made me to do PCNL again after RIRS is large stone burden. When I take a case for RIRS, when I go inside, when I feel that the stone is too big, I cannot do justice. Then I started thinking, can we do supine so that there will not be two positions? That is what made me to do last 3 years. Otherwise, there is no difference between prone and supine. Naturally, we have to remember the history. Jose Gabriel Valdivia sir still very active on Facebook and social media, encouraging the juniors about supine PCNL, invented in 1987. Then Michael Grasso was a very famous RIRS surgeon who started this in 1990. He also tried prone both PCNL as well as the RIRS, but it did not last because prone RIRS is difficult. Ultimately, Scoffon has done this ECIRS, and then Dr. Gaspar in 1990s. Scoffon actually made 2008 it is popular. After that, slowly people started using it. The basic concept was introduced in 1987 by Valdivia. Ultimately, you have to turn the patient minimum 15 to 30 degrees to expose the renal area. That is mandatory. If you flex the leg like this, ipsilateral extension, it is a different name, Galdauko modified position. If you are using to bolster so that the in between space is free. This is Bart's technique. If you see, there so many positions are there. What I say that if you wanted to do RIRS more, you have to flex the both knees so that your scope hand you will go in between the legs. If you wanted to do supine PCNL, ipsilateral legs should be as straight as possible, as simple as it. If you want to go to the upper calyx, you have to rotate the patient more. That is all. 3 points. If you wanted to do more RIRS, it's both legs flexed. If you wanted to do supine PCNL mostly lower pole, you have to ipsilateral legs slightly flexed. If you wanted to do upper pole, you have to rotate the body more. These are the only 3 points to be remembered. Now coming to the everywhere, there are 2 techniques Madhusudan Agarwal sir has explained. One is the bullseye, another is the triangularization or anterior posterior checking position. In bullseye will not be available in supine PCNL, that is the disadvantage. Whereas, so the triangularization is very easy, it is simple. Every person who does PCNL will keep the needle in 0 degree in this line. Everybody can keep this easily. Then you will choose an entry point. From that entry point, going to the stone, either it be onto stone, it is anterior to stone, it is posterior to stone. It is an imagination semi-blind. How can you make semi-blind less? Harshavardhan says, I will be directly going to the stone with my experience by moving the kidney. Some others say, I will go more posterior like SK Pal sir, then I will come slowly anterior because posterior is safe. So those who are learning in the beginning, go posteriorly and then come anteriorly. In supine PCNL, because the patient in a normal sleeping position, posterior to anterior means gradual ascent. That means you turn the needle towards the table, slowly you come up. How you see here. This is if the needle in 30 degree cranial goes towards the head end, it is posterior. If the needle goes towards the head end, right side Siam is also tilted head end. What is Siam tilted head end means? The screen receiver is tilted to head end. That you have to remember. If you remember one, it is enough. There is no need to remember all the things. If the screen of the receiver of the Siam goes to head end, if the needle is going superiorly to head end, it is superficial. Withdraw it, come to the stone. That means slowly needle will come down, down, down and you will reach the stone. You need not go anteriorly. That is the, if you are anterior, definitely needle will be towards the foot end. If you are a traditional prone PCNL surgeon, you can do that also. If receiver comes towards your side, the needle also will come to your side in supine PCNL. If receiver comes to your side, needle also comes to your side. If the receiver comes to the opposite side, it goes beyond the spine, which is not good. This is important. So advantage of supine PCNL are, you can keep the patient straight, access for the cardiovascular and pulmonary management is easy, less risk of injury to central and peripheral nervous system, and less risk of tracheal compression, less risk of thromboembolism, lack of inferior vena cava compression. These are all theoretical advantages and practical advantages. Many of us do prone, we have never faced this. If you take care, very good. Most important indication I feel is obesity and kyphoscoliosis. Other third indication is if you are very good and if your unit is doing lot of RIRS, then supine PCNL has great role. That is my feeling. For example, this is the obese patient. You have to strap a little bit thigh and rotate and then you can go inside. The length of the Amplatz sheath is more or less same. You have to remember that recently discussion has happened that 20 centimeter Amplatz sheath are available, 16 centimeters what we routinely use. You can order long Amplatz sheath. Now coming to the this heart rate, BP and SpO2 will not get affected. So these are the obviously proven, but the technical it is difficult. That's why we are we are worried about this. No patient repositioning is needed in RIRS as well as this. And then accessibility to Kelly's. See, what happens in supine PCNL is, if you go to the lower pole, which is more anterior, from the side if you go to anterior calyx, then going down to the posterior calyx is easy. Whereas in prone, if you go to the deep part, then you have to turn anterior, then you have to turn superficial to the, that is difficult. So the scope goes more deep in prone, then you have to turn and come superficially, that is difficult. Whereas in supine, if you select the lower calyx, you look down so that you can push the pelvic stone into the superior calyx, you can break it, abutting the upper pole parenchyma. That means without too much, it's like a breaking down is easy than breaking up. This is the most important advantage I feel. Now, better stone fragment washout because of the gravity. There is an advantage and there is disadvantage. What is the main advantage is, sepsis will not be there, water will not stay inside, RIRS can be done, flushing can be done. But disadvantage is, if you don't flush water more, you look more blood. In live conferences it may look more bloody also. In that case you think that supine PCNL is more bloody. That is true disadvantage. You have to flush water so that every drop will come out very fast. Sepsis, definitely, for example, you wanted to do on pyonephrosis, normally you do PCN, but if you wanted to remove small stone, water will not stay. If you put large access sheath, not even a single drop will stay and distension of the PCS will not happen. Ergonomic advantage, I say it is not 100% correct, provided you are used to it. Doing in sitting position supine PCNL is an art. If you learn it, it is good. Entire surgery, your hands will be below the table. So sometimes you feel that you are working against gravity, then it will cause little bit of problem. But Siam, you will be away 100%. But you have to use your hands, especially tall persons will use his hands below the table. Less risk of colonic injury, this is a debatable topic. Theoretically, it is less colonic injury only because you are turning the patient to opposite side. But practically, you will be puncturing laterally. Just because colon is lateral, you cannot go more lateral. So in supine PCNL, colonic injury is possible if you don't know the technique. But if you know the technique, it is very, very unlikely when compared to prone colonic injury. You have to remember posterior axillary line has to be drawn in sitting or standing position before the surgery is taken. Otherwise, you will make the puncture anterior and you will unnecessarily invite the peritoneum into your puncture. So theoretically, colonic injury is less. Practically, if you are experienced, then 1.9% only in the literature. These are the various literature we can mention. If you see, I have done around 20-30 patients CT beginning of my practice. I have compared how the tract goes. In fact, I have injected the contrast into the tract. So you see a lot of distance between the colon. So whatever that can be done in prone can be done in supine. So less overall exposure because you will not be keeping your hands under the C-arm. You will be on the side. Disadvantages are limited space, upper pole calyx will be medial, more complex dilatation difficult, decreased filling of the calyx system, spinal interposition in X-ray, PA projection, longer tract length. These are the true disadvantages. You have to understand that not many are easily adapting. If your training is prone PCNL, prone is easy. Now we are doing both, so we can understand wherever the need of supine. For example, bifid system is there. Upper pole I have to do RIRS, lower pole I have to do supine. Both are compulsory. Then I will choose supine only. If a large pelvic stone is there, if we have to do puncture, then I will select prone only if there is no node for RIRS. So how to overcome disadvantages? Abdominal compression like this, abdominal compression like this, See, this is the movement while doing the PCNL puncture and dilatation. So you have to put opposite pressure like this. Opposite pressure if you get. So any person who does prone PCNL say we never require, because opposite pressure is abdominal wall against the table. So you don't need it. Then limited operative field, you don't go to the upper pole calyx puncture so easily, because RIRS can be done. If at all you wanted to do, you can do. Only thing is that 40 to 50 degrees you have to turn. Many people argue that if you are turning 40 to 50, why can't you do prone? There is a lot of difference. If you completely prone, anesthetist management of the neck is totally different. But many of the anesthetists say that in prone position they can manage. People are doing under spinal anesthesia. So these are all individual choices. We cannot dictate and say that this is the only way. My job is that if at all you wanted to do ECIRS, then you can do that. See, these are the various methods how superior calyx can be punctured. Then irrigation pump and additional retrograde irrigation are required for distending the calyx. So lot of research is there. Operative time is less SFR is less a little bit when compared, and there are many studies different this thing more costly. So 2 surgeons are required like that. ECIRS, they say stone free rate is almost equal. If you combine ECIRS, it is more. Bleeding rate, they say it is almost equal, no difference, and some studies say a little less. Pelvic perforation is comparable, and then fluid access comparable. P value is significant, not significant in fluid failed access comparable to prone PCNL. Both of them are equally good. Hospital stay, no difference. So significant difference is found in operation time. It is a shorter operation time. Again, various papers can be there. I will show briefly upper calyx. Now I have done 37, 47, 57, almost 15 minutes of time. So I will skip the videos because it is not possible to show all the videos. See, this is the supracostal puncture I wanted to demonstrate. This is the bifid system. This is the small stone which was there in the upper calyx, and then supracostal puncture is done like this and then removed. So it is possible. You have to keep the things. This malrotated kidney in retrorenal column. So retrorenal column in supine PCNL column will be slightly anterior. So you can go paraspinal in this also. You can use ultrasound. This is the recently we have done 125 kg 42. This is the most obese patient. There was no problem. The puncture is through the middle calyx, and then at the end ECIRS we have checked it. Arshu kidney we can do. Infants, this is the smallest kid we have reported 9 months, where the while doing RIRS the contrast has leaked. So we have done PCNL, same thing. See here, just below the skin. If you have ultrasound, it is always better. See, this is the supine PCNL. You can puncture in the direction of the calyx in inferior calyx. That is the giveaway. The movement of the kidney can be nicely seen. This is published as a case report as the smallest baby. Then routinely we are doing the supine PCNL in children like this. Nicely the puncture can be done, and you will see the blood. See, posterior axillary line and the rib has to be marked properly. These are the children supine PCNL. Matrix stone, simultaneous ECIRS is if you combine with flexible ureteroscopy. Nothing new in this. Stone free rate will be much better. So I will go through that. Decrease need for multiple accesses. Operative time can be reduced. Less need for ancillary procedures like ESWL. So when you see here, 2 screens are required, 2 surgeons are required. If you want, 1 surgeon also can be done, but 2 surgeons is ideal. So complete stagger, for example, it is bifid system. You see here, this is looking, this is the position of the ECIRS. See, this is the bifid system. How will you do it? One is RIRS, another is, many people say that I will puncture upper pole calyx also. But why? RIRS can do fast. You can get the pieces and give to the lower person. You see that video here. Now you have gone into the PCNL tract. You have punctured and did all the removal of the stone in the lower system. Once you clear in the lower system, there will be stone. See, now you cannot go to the upper infundibulum. At that time, what will you do? You do another puncture in the middle calyx only. Now superior calyx is not able to go through the, see, part of the stone is seen. What will you do? If you do more, infundibular tail will happen. So in that case, RIRS is very useful. Now RIRS will go, see, like this, it will take the stone. You can fast fragment, need not do powder, take simple forceps and give to the PCNL person. It is very, very, very useful. See, he is breaking very fast, no powder, multiple fragments. In fact, they will come down and automatically through the nephrostomy you can remove them. Can you do it in prone PCL? No. So select such cases where upper calyx stone is 1 centimeter and lower and pelvis is large, then ECIRS is useful. So these are the various pictures which ECIRS, multiple stones are there like this. Then you can go see one calyx stone was there, that can be pulverized by RIRS, and that is the truth. So this is a very good example. Last case I am showing multiple calyceous stones. Nobody can remove easily by PCNL these type of compact systems. So what happened, you see here, nice puncture is done in the one of the calyx, majority of the stone is removed, and see here it is a laser used and pneumatic lithotripter used and removed the stone. After that it was not entering into the other calyces. Then flexible scope will come into picture and then remove the stone and give the the flexible scope is going above the ampulla sheath region, and now it is taking out through the basket and give it. The only disadvantage is, as Madhusudan sir told, where these are costly, you have to expertise. One RIRS surgeon should be good, one PCNL surgeon should be good. See, all this can happen when I have converted from the prone to supine, when I have learnt independently RIRS. Everybody can learn. In fact, it is not very difficult RIRS. See how at different phases entire stones are removed. Like this we can take it out. There is a last concept, simultaneous bilateral endoscopic surgery. One can do PCNL one side, other side RIRS. People say it is not correct. Even I also agree. Unless there is damn emergency of anesthesia, you wanted to clear fast, stone volume is less, don't attempt this. Bilateral attempting in renal system is risky because of the sepsis. So with this I conclude my talk. The ECIRS has slightly better SFR. Alone, if you take slightly better SFR in prone, less operative time in supine, better in multiple lower pole stones, high risk obese. Advantages of ECIRS and simultaneous bilateral endoscopic surgery, if they are there, you use it. Thank you. There are various methods of doing the feeds, skinning the cat, whatever you like. What should be cost effective? Main important is cost effective, highest stone free rate in your hands. Whatever happens, that you do it. Many of us does not have ultrasound. I have seen when you start puncturing with ultrasound, many times first attempt it will not happen. Many of the surgeons go to CM. What all Indians typically does is CM, CM, CM. So practice that, expertise in that, and give the best result to the patient. Thank you very much. I will talk my RIRS tips and tricks on behalf of Kandar Parikh sir after the Harshavardhan talk is over. I hope Harshavardhan will take it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.